Hey there, Gwenters! It's time to continue on our quest. For all you first-time game players, we're going to skip Syndicate, even though that's normally what I do on Fridays, and go to Saturday and do Scoia'tael. And then we're going to come back to Syndicate after. But for right now, we're going to do Scoia'tael for a couple reasons. Number one, it's on my daily. Number two, it's good to do. I don't actually love Scoia'tael here, though, so we're actually going to change this. Let's see what we get. 30 neutral cards. Not bad. Half of your starting decks are neutrals, so we should get there pretty quickly. Alright, we're going to show you guys what's in the Scoia'tael deck, describe it a little bit, and then jump into some gameplay. So, first things first, the leader card on this has something called Symbiosis, and that's what the entire deck is based around. So, Symbiosis means whenever you play a nature card, spawn a wandering treant in a random allied row and set its power equal to the number of units with Symbiosis under your control. So the leader counts as one of those units. So whenever you're playing a nature card, you're going to get a 1-point treant onto the board. Now if you have more Symbiosis units, you're going to get a bigger treant, meaning it has more points to it. But for right now, we're just concerned about worrying about this, what this keyword means and what it does for you. Next, you get 3 charges of this order, which gives an allied unit vitality for 2 turns. Remember, bleeding causes damage to a unit, 1 point of damage at the end of every turn for as many turns as it lasts. So vitality is the opposite. It's going to boost a unit by 1 point for as many turns as it says on it. And then that'll go down by 1 every time you use it. Okay, so then our cards, what we have here are Geralt of Rivia, we know and love him. Then we've got Surrender, which we're familiar with. Then we got Freixenet, who when your devotion, so this is something we haven't seen before, but devotion means trigger this ability if your starting deck has no neutral cards. Well, Surrender and Geralt are neutrals, so we don't have to worry about what his devotion tag is. Just note that devotion is something you're going to be building more in the end game. For right now, though, we're just looking at this. Melee, boost a Dryad in your hand by 2. Deranged, spawn a young Dryad in this row. And note that young Dryad is 2 points. Doomed. Doomed just means status that removes the unit from the game when it leaves the battlefield, so it doesn't go to your graveyard. And then it also has Symbiosis as well. So really helpful thing from that young Dryad. Next is Circe. She has Harmony. Boosts self by 1 or the specified amount whenever you play a Scoia'tael unit whose primary category is unique among all of your units. So it means like whenever you play a unit that's a different species. So notice she's a Dryad. Freixenet is a human. Geralt is a Witcher, but he's a neutral card, so he is not a Scoia'tael card. But we're going to see some other ones. So she's kind of a passive point engine. It's pretty easy to use. Not a whole lot of thinking there. Her deploy is damage an enemy unit by 2. Then Death Blow. Death Blow means trigger this ability if this card destroys a unit and boosts a unit in your hand by 2. There's a reason we're doing Scoia'tael last. As you can see, this is a little bit more complicated than all of the other decks we've played. But don't worry, we'll get there. You'll be okay. But just note that Death Blow is really helpful, and we do want to try to get that set up. Dunka is really good. She has Veil. That's the thing that makes so she can't get poisoned, can't get locked. Zeal, meaning she can use that ability right away. And this works the same as Aparian Phantom that you guys saw. The difference here is that at the end of your turn, if order is not used, boost a random Scoia'tael unit in your hand by 1. So she's going to be boosting Scoia'tael units. Remember, all the cards with green backings on the top of them. Again, not Surrender, not Geralt. Those are neutrals. Daragea Vol is a neutral. Lock, we've seen him before. Ida Emien Ipzivni. Deploy melee purify unit, so that can be offensive or defensive. Then ranged, give an allied unit vitality for 4 turns. So really helpful, giving you some boost or some purify. Double Thunders. Circle of Life is a nature card. So then we're going to damage an enemy unit by 3, then boost a random Scoia'tael unit in your hand by 2. However, if it's a Death Blow, you get to choose which Scoia'tael unit it is. And that's helpful for certain ones of these cards. Hamadryad, Symbiosis, and then at the end of your turn, if this unit has Vitality, boost self by 1. And remember, Vitality boosts the unit by 1 as well. So she's going to be boosting herself by 2 points as long as she has some of that vitality on her. And remember, our leader ability gets that for us. Then we've got Gwenting Guardian, Veil, we're preventing that lock. Symbiosis, so she's giving bigger treants for us every time we use a nature card. Order, damage an enemy unit by 2, so she has an order that she can use to do some damage. Then we've got Hawk, which is a beast. Harmony, same way as that Circe, gets boosted every time we play something different. And then melee, damage an enemy unit by 2. Ranged, move an enemy unit to the other row. So it gives us some row movement. We've got Dryad's Caress, purifies an allied unit and boosts it by 3. And then if we control a Dryad, it's going to also give that unit vitality for 3 turns for an additional 3 points. Dryad Grovekeeper, deploy, give an allied unit vitality with the duration equal to the number of other Dryad units. So she's quite good in the longer round. Dryad Enchantress, melee, give an allied unit 3 armor. Ranged, give an allied unit 3 vitality. Then Abandoned Girl, transforms self as an order into a young Dryad without changing power. So if she's boosted or damaged, she's going to keep whatever value she had before. She's going to change into this young Dryad and give you Symbiosis. So that's it. Honestly, there's only 4 nature cards, so you probably want to update this deck with some other nature cards as you get them. But we're just going to play with this deck straight away. Because the wonderful things we does. Let's go ahead and jump into a game. Honestly, I feel like of all the decks, the Scoia'tael deck is probably the most tricky. But those Hamadryads are actually really good value and some of the better engines, at least in the starter deck. So hopefully we draw those and we're able to use those. Ooh, looks like we're up against a Scoia'tael faction that uses Invigorate, which boosts 5 units in their hand, and they get to choose it 2 different times. Alright, we do like these Circle of Lives, and I actually like Phyrexian early. I'm looking for Dunka, so get rid of this Dryad's Caress. Glad to have a Hamadryad. And we will get rid of this Dryad Enchantress. We have a few nature cards here with a couple of Symbiosis cards, so we're going to go ahead here and get rid of Trained Hawk. It's good, but not great. Okay, so Dunka with this tactical advantage is actually quite nice. Just go ahead and get her down here. And we're just going to go ahead and boost her up. Pray that the opponent doesn't have Geralt. You're going to watch every turn. She's going to boost a unit in my hand by 1. We really don't have to do anything else with her. It's kind of nice. Alright, Dwarven Agitator boosts allied unit in hand by 2, an allied dwarf. So it looks like we don't have to worry about those right now. Let's go ahead and get down a Hamadryad, and we're going to use a leader charge here to go ahead and give her vitality. You'll note she goes up by 1 for the vitality, and then 1 from her passive boost here. Looks like the opponent has already gotten Sunset Wanderers, which is a card that is going to keep moving in their hand. It's a really good card. If you played during the event, this video is probably going to go up after the event is over, but if you played during the WitcherCon event, you'll already have Sunset Wanderers, so that'll be great for you. If not, just draw it out of a keg eventually or build it. It's a really quality card. We'll get to building cards and getting value later on. So here the opponent goes for moving us and applying that bleed. Well, we want to get rid of that bleed because we want to keep boosting up this unit. So we're going to apply this card. It's going to purify her and then give her 3 vitality because we control a Dryad. And then we're also going to spawn a 2-point treant here. Remember, we get 1 point from the leader and 1 point from the Hamadryad, which is what gets us 2 points. And this Dunka continues to just shuttle value into a unit in our hand. Really good for us. We're loving it. Zoltan Warrior. Man, this player is making some interesting choices. We're going to play Duncanel Guardian just to threaten these rowdy dwarves. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and kill one of these rowdy dwarves here. And remember how this unit has bonded? Well, we're going to go ahead and just kill that unit so the opponent can't get that bonded value. And we're going to go ahead and put this onto Scoia'tael just to spread around these points in our hand a little bit more. And the longer Dunka stays out in front on the board, the more points we get into these units in our hand, which is called carryover value. So all of these points in your hand are going to stay on these cards when we get to the next round. So the more of those we get, the better off we are going to be. And Abandoned Girl is not the greatest of cards. We're going to go ahead and get rid of, go ahead and play her, especially since she transforms into a unit with symbiosis. At this point, though, we kind of are overplaying. See if the opponent passes. They do. Seems like they have at least a novice's understanding of how to play the game at a minimum. It just means we'll have to be on our guard. Alright, I don't really love these Dryad Grove Keepers, so I'm going to go ahead and put that back. And I have a Purify with Ida, so I'm going to put this back. I like these options just a little bit more. But I don't really want to have to play either of these cards. But I do want to force the opponent to try to use some of these leader charges. So we're going to go ahead and play him to ranged to get that free 2-point unit, that young Dryad with symbiosis. And just try to get some, get a kill with this Circle of Life to shuttle some boost onto Scoia'tael or Ida. Remember, it's just a Scoia'tael unit, so it can't ever go onto Dirige. Ugh. Oh, I'm getting tired, but we did get the opponent to play one of these, so that feels pretty good. Alright, Eskel is a perfect unit to lock with Dirige. The opponent has a lot of cards that they've either crafted or pulled from kegs, which is good for them. And it also shows you how the further you get in this game, the more you're going to have to learn to cope with players playing things you're not expecting. Like this Cat Witcher here. We're going to go ahead and kill that just so we don't have to deal with it anymore. And we're trying to also force out this Sunset Wanderers. You'll see why here in just a moment. Alright, Waylay. Interesting choice. We're going to go ahead and counter that with Circle of Life. And there's Sunset Wanderers. You're seeing that come down. It's a lot of points for the opponent. We knew that was going to happen though. We'll put this on Ida. We might go down a card here, but we're going to generate so much value. by forcing the opponent to play too many cards. That's going to be alright. But Sunset Wanderers, it's a really solid card. They can only be played once though, so we're forcing it out here to take away a lot of that value that would otherwise come back to bite us in the butt in round 3. Oh, man. Would you like an arrow to the head instead? Alright, Leo, interesting choice. Boosts himself by each Witcher that they can control. Alright, we're just going to kind of play for value here. Ida would give us 7 points, which would put us at 21. That's not nearly enough. We're just trying basically here to force the opponent to keep playing cards, hopefully cards that they don't want to play. Cat Witcher Mentor, interesting choice. I think here, Ida is one of the only elves we have. So we're just going to go ahead and take the pass. We lose here with the opponent up a card, so they're going to get last say. Which is a little bit of a bummer for us, but it's not the end of the world. These Dryad Enchantresses are not super helpful, but better than Grove Keepers. Alright, the Untitled Guardian is at least nominally helpful. We were really trying to get the Hamadryad or Geralt. Is what it is. Like to get Circe down as soon as we think she can get a death blow. But before I play her, I want to play Dryads just so I get my harmony value off of the Trained Hawk. But these vitalities I have to think about as well. Alright, we'll go for a Untitled Guardian here. Opponent needs to remember to use this leader ability. They only have 5 cards in hand. So they should be using this right away. Kind of expect one of them to be Shell Skags. Alright, Dwarven Skirmisher. Nice, great card. We're just going to go ahead and finish off this agitator here. We're going to go ahead and boost Trained Hawk. Just because it also has harmony and we'd like it to stay alive so that we can get that engine value. Mahakam Volunteers are a great card. Go ahead and put one of these charges down now. We'll do the other charge later in just a moment. Alright, Gezrus is an excellent choice. This was put down wrong though. Notice how we activated both of those harmonies. We're just getting some boost value here. This Gezrus is going to come down to melee and actually just go ahead and damage each of our units, which is a bit of a bummer, but not the end of the world. Nice. Alright, then we're just going to go ahead and give this Trained Hawk boost again, and we get 3 different boosts that happen there, so pretty good value for us. So we might be taking our first loss here. The opponent played this a little bit wrong. They wanted to get more of these onto range throw. Oh, looks like we actually pull out the win here with Selective Mutation. It's only going to play for 4 points for the opponent. They have to put back whatever it is they take. So we end up with a very narrow win. Taking a long time to make this choice when it's not going to matter. Alright, if you like this video, please leave a like. If you want to see more of this content, please subscribe. And if you are learning more about the basics of Gwent, hang around for the next video. Until next time, though, good luck on the path. Get out there, keep on Gwenting. Bye for now.